Dubai, a city of jaw-dropping skylines, luxury cars, and wild wealth. But behind the glitz and glamour, there's a darker side, one that even the flashiest criminals couldn't hide from. From cyber scams and fake luxury watches to major drug busts and even a Hollywood-style assassination, Dubai's police have seen it all. And trust me, when they strike, it's like something straight out of a movie. Ever wondered what happens when the world's most wanted think they can outsmart one of the most high-tech police forces on the planet? In this video, we're diving into some of the craziest real-life crime stories from Dubai and how every single one of these criminals got caught. Cameras were rolling, cuffs were clicking. You won't believe some of this stuff. Dubai loves its luxury, supercars, sky-high penthouses, gold-plated everything. You name it. And there's one guy who fit right into that glossy picture, at least on the outside. Meet Raymond Abbas, better known on Instagram as Hush Puppy, millions of followers, private jets, Versace on his back, and Louis Vuitton luggage for days. He looked like a self-made millionaire living the dream. But here's the catch. No one really knew what he did for a living. There were no businesses, no tech startup, just a suspiciously perfect lifestyle that seemed too good to be true. And, spoiler, it was. Behind the filters and fancy captions was a massive web of cyber scams. We're talking email phishing, identity theft, fake companies, hacked accounts, serious next-level digital hustling. Hush Puppy and his crew were pulling in millions. They'd hit companies, banks, and even tried to swipe 100 million euros meant for a Premier League club. Yeah, not small-time stuff. Now, here's where things get interesting. Hush Puppy thought Dubai was the perfect place to hide in plain sight. After all, who questions a guy dripping in designer gear when everyone around him's doing the same? But Dubai police aren't your average beat cops. They run their ops like a high-budget spy film. Tech everywhere, and a serious eye on anything sketchy. Over months, investigators tracked him. They watched every Insta post, followed the trail of emails, hacked devices, and suspicious money movements. The whole time, Hush Puppy had no idea. He kept showing off villas and new watches while police were building an airtight case behind the scenes. Then came the moment. Operation Fox Hunt 2. At 3 a.m., a full tactical unit swarmed his luxury apartment. Doors were kicked in, hard drives grabbed, phones snatched. There's actual police footage of it, and it's wild. The crew looked shocked, like genuinely stunned. They didn't see it coming, not even for a second. The scale of what they found was insane. Over $40 million in cash, 13 luxury cars, and a mind-blowing amount of digital evidence. Chats, emails, account logs, all laid bare. Suddenly, the king of flex was exposed. Not as some genius entrepreneur, but as the guy running a massive global fraud network out of a penthouse. And here's the twist that really hit social media like a bomb. He posted everything himself. His downfall started with his own Instagram feed. The watches, the jets, the captions. Every picture was another clue for Dubai police. He basically gave them the roadmap. After the arrest, Hush Puppy was handed over to the FBI. Now he's sitting in a U.S. prison, facing decades behind bars. The man who had everything now has a jumpsuit and a cell. From 5-star suites to federal custody. Just like that. The thing is, Hush Puppy isn't the only one who thought Dubai could be a playground without rules. But if there's one thing the police here have proven, it doesn't matter how much money you've got or how good you are at hiding behind filters. If you're up to something shady, they will find you. And they don't stop at fraudsters. In fact, the next case is way darker. Less glamour, way more serious. The kind of story where one wrong move leads to a global manhunt, and a shocking twist behind closed hotel doors. Dubai's luxury hotels have seen all kinds of guests, billionaires, celebrities, royalty. But in January 2010, one man checked in who would flip the city's reputation for safety on its head. His name? Mahmoud Al-Mabhouh. The most chilling moment? When they entered his room. Somehow, without any sign of forced entry, they got in. Some reports say they cloned his keycard. Others say they manipulated the electronic lock. Either way, it worked. Inside, the team used a fast-acting method, likely a muscle relaxant or paralyzing agent, and were out in minutes, clean, silent. By the time hotel staff found al-Mabhouh's body, the killers were already gone. But they hadn't vanished. Police tracked their flights, matched their disguises, and within days had built a timeline that exposed the whole team. Then came the move that shocked the world. Dubai police went public. They released names, faces, fake passports, surveillance clips. It was a full-on reveal that called out a professional hit team and hinted at links to foreign intelligence. Headlines exploded. Embassies scrambled. Even governments were caught off guard. Some of the passports had belonged to real people. Ordinary citizens from Europe and Australia who had no idea their identities were used. The political fallout was huge. Diplomatic tensions flared. Countries demanded explanations. And suddenly, a murder in a hotel room became an international incident. Not all the suspects were caught. Some disappeared before anyone could touch them, but their faces, movements, and mistakes were already out there for the world to see. The message from Dubai? Simple. You might be smart, well-trained, even protected, but if you leave footprints in this city, they will find them, and they'll show everyone what you were up to. This wasn't a flashy scam or a digital fraud. It was cold, calculated, and terrifyingly quiet. The kind of thing that would normally stay buried under government files. But not this time. This time it played out on screens across the globe, and it left a message hanging in the air. Even the most high-level ops can crumble under the right lens. Now, if that one gave you chills, wait until you hear what came next. Not spies, not politics, just millions of illegal pills, hidden, shipped, moved across borders, and then gone in one of the slickest drug busts Dubai has ever pulled off. Dubai might look like the last place you'd expect a drug empire to try its luck. Too many cameras, too much order, and way too much tech. But somehow, one syndicate thought they could outsmart all of it. They were wrong. The story starts like this. Customs officers at Dubai's port were checking a shipping container, pretty standard. The manifest said it was full of furniture, big wooden panels, nothing out of the ordinary, except something felt off. The weight wasn't matching. A few measurements looked suspicious. So, instead of clearing it, they flagged it. That one decision set off a chain reaction that would unravel a massive smuggling operation. Inside the container, hidden in the hollow spaces of the panels, were 13 tons of Captagon pills. For anyone unfamiliar, Captagon's basically the go-to drug for a lot of criminal networks in the Middle East and North Africa. Cheap to make, easy to transport, and highly addictive. Street value? Around $1 billion. That's not a typo. $1 billion. And all of it was about to hit the market until it didn't. Now, Dubai police didn't just seize the pills and call it a win. They wanted the people behind it. So instead of announcing the bust, they quietly launched Operation Storm. This is where it gets cinematic. Undercover officers started posing as local distributors. They played the game, set up fake deals, and started working their way up the ladder, tracking phone numbers, locations, delivery routes. Every conversation was logged. Every meetup was bait. Bit by bit, the syndicate started revealing itself. What police found was a tightly connected network operating across multiple countries. The drugs were being moved through fake companies and hidden in furniture shipments, legit-looking businesses with forged invoices and clean paperwork. The plan was to flood markets in the region without raising alarms. But they never factored in how long Dubai police were willing to play the long game. For weeks, officers tracked the crew's every move. They mapped out warehouses, watched drop-offs, and even intercepted messages between middlemen. Once they had the full picture, they made their move. It was one of the biggest coordinated arrests in the UAE's history. raids hit multiple locations across the city, all at once. Homes, storage units, front businesses, gone. The crew was caught completely off guard. Some were arrested while counting cash. Others were tracked down at nightclubs and restaurants. Not one got away. Dubai police later released footage from the whole thing. You see the fake furniture being cracked open, rows and rows of pills spilling out, the undercover officers blending in, the sting ops. It's intense, and honestly, a little surreal. The message was loud and clear. It doesn't matter how clever your setup is, or how clean your operation looks on paper, you can't hide this kind of thing in Dubai. And here's the kicker. This wasn't a local group. The people running it were spread across multiple countries. Dubai was just the hub, but the way the police handled it, they didn't just shut down a shipment, they shut down a network. The bust got international attention. Drug enforcement agencies in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia all wanted in. And what started as a dodgy shipping container turned into a global investigation. One container. One small inconsistency. That's all it took. But if you think this was about high-risk moves and heavy lifting, wait till you hear about the next case. It's quieter, simpler, but maybe even more dangerous. Because this time the criminals weren't hiding drugs or weapons. They were hiding behind something everybody wants: status, prestige, timepieces that cost more than a car, and their scam was running like clockwork. Dubai's full of status symbols: Rolls-Royce cars, custom sneakers, diamond-encrusted phones, but nothing quite says "I've made it" like a luxury watch. Rolex, Audemars, Piguet, Richard Mille. These aren't just timepieces, they're basically trophies. And in Dubai, demand is sky high. So when a small boutique in the heart of the city started offering high-end watches at prices that were just a bit below market value, no one really questioned it. In fact, business boomed. The place looked legit. Glossy counters, flashy Instagram ads, and even a few influencers showing off their new pieces. But behind the polished glass and slick marketing was one of the smartest fake watch scams Dubai had ever seen. Here's how it worked. The gang sourced incredibly realistic counterfeit watches. We're talking replicas that could fool even trained eyes. Some had real parts, others were built from scratch in underground workshops. The boxes were perfect. The papers looked clean. The serial numbers were cloned from actual watches sold years earlier. Everything seemed real, until it wasn't. Buyers thought they were getting a deal. In reality, they were walking out with watches worth a few $100, not tens of thousands. And the scam didn't stop at tourists. They were targeting collectors, business execs, even resellers who thought they were flipping genuine pieces. Some of the watches even made it into auction listings. It took one sharp-eyed collector to notice something was off. He bought a Patek Philippe from the boutique, then brought it to an expert for servicing. Within minutes, they spotted minor flaws, the wrong movement, mismatched screws, tiny differences invisible to the average buyer. He reported it, and that was the crack Dubai police needed. They didn't rush in. They waited, monitored the shop, ran background checks, quietly followed the paper trail. The more they looked, the messier it got. Turns out the boutique wasn't even registered properly. Most of its stock came through shell companies overseas. Payments were split across accounts in different countries. Some watches were posted online under fake names and shipped internationally. Once police had mapped out the network, they moved in. Not just on the store, but on everyone connected to it. The people who made the watches, shipped them, sold them, laundered the money. In total, dozens were arrested across different cities. Dubai police later showed a video of the bust. You see boxes of fakes stacked behind walls, real certificates next to fake ones, watches laid out like trophies in a showroom, but none of them were the real deal. The total value of the fakes? Over $100 million. And here's the thing. If that one collector hadn't noticed the flaw, the scam might have kept going for years. It was that smooth. But, like we've seen again and again, Dubai's not the kind of place where crime hides for long, especially not when you're playing with high-end goods in a city that knows luxury inside out. So far, we've talked about fraud, assassination, drug empires, and fake watches. But the last case, it's something else entirely. Not about profit, not about power. This one's personal, violent, raw, and it all started with a phone call, a family feud, and a getaway car that never quite made it out of the city. Dubai's allure is magnetic. It draws people in from all walks of life, including the rich, the powerful, and sometimes the dangerous. But what happens when family secrets spill out into the open? What happens when a personal feud turns into something far more deadly? This story begins with two brothers, one wealthy, the other not so much. But there's more to this than sibling rivalry. One of them was heavily involved in the criminal underworld, arms deals, money laundering, you name it. The other had tried to stay clean, moving to Dubai in search of a fresh start. But when greed and betrayal collide, there's no escaping the fallout. In 2019, the family drama reached a breaking point. The brother, who had kept his distance from the criminal side of things, was forced into a corner. He feared for his life. He knew too much. He was going to talk, and not just to the authorities. He was ready to expose everything. So, what do you do when you've got a brother who's dangerous, who's willing to do anything to protect himself? You run. And that's exactly what he did. The plan was simple. Escape Dubai. Get to a place where his brother couldn't touch him. He made a break for it, hoping to make it out of the country with a clear head start. But there was one thing he didn't count on: Dubai police. They'd already been watching. They'd already figured out that this wasn't a regular family squabble. They knew exactly what this could lead to, and they weren't taking any chances. On the day of the escape, Dubai police set up a covert operation. The moment the brother tried to slip through the airport, he was intercepted. Not only was he stopped from leaving, but police uncovered explosive information that linked him directly to the criminal syndicates that had been operating in the shadows of the city. The investigation took off from there. Police found the brother's hidden assets, illegal transactions, and a secret network of connections that spanned continents. It turned out that the whole family, while seemingly split in their ways, was involved in a series of crimes that stretched far beyond what anyone had imagined. What started as an escape attempt turned into one of the most high-profile investigations Dubai had seen in years. The brother, who tried to flee, had no idea that his final move would lead to his own downfall. In the end, he was arrested, and police were able to dismantle the larger network of crime. What had started as a simple act of betrayal and fear turned into a massive operation with far-reaching consequences. Dubai is a city of glitz and glamour, a place where wealth seems limitless and ambition is the currency of choice. But, as these stories show, crime, no matter how high-tech, how well-hidden, or how personal, can't escape the ever-watchful eyes of Dubai's law enforcement. From cyber scams and high-level assassinations to smuggling rings and multi-million-dollar frauds, Dubai has proven time and again that even the smartest criminals won't get away. The city's reputation for safety is no accident. It's the result of an incredibly efficient police force and a culture of zero tolerance for criminal activity. But what makes these stories even more fascinating is how human they are. Whether it's the desire for wealth, power, or revenge, these criminals were all driven by emotions we can relate to: greed, fear, pride. And yet, in a city like Dubai, those emotions can only carry you so far. In the end, no matter how clever or ambitious the criminals were, their stories ended the same way, with a fall from grace. The same city that once offered them luxury and anonymity became the place of their downfall. Dubai may have the world's tallest buildings and the fastest cars, But it's also built on something even stronger: the certainty that crime will never go unnoticed. So, the next time you see someone flashing cash, posting a private jet pic, or showing off their newest luxury purchase, remember, the city that looks like paradise could be the very same one that brings the hammer down on the criminals who thought they could outsmart it. Because in Dubai, no one escapes.